And we're back, and we just finished watching 2020's Vampires versus the Bronx, currently streaming on Netflix. The story follows three young friends, Miguel, Bobby, and Luis, as they experience an adventure that has to do with vampires, right? That have now come into their, I guess, neighborhood and are looking at Bronx and are looking to take over. This is a new release. We will probably spoil it, and we've asked Uncle Jay to join us again. Hi, Uncle Jay.
Hello there. Thanks for having me.
So, impressions. Olive G, what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was good.
What did you like about it?
I liked at the end how he killed the...
No, we're gonna not try and spoil it.
That's fine.
We don't care about spoilers?
No, we always put a thing. There will be spoilers.
All right.
There will.
But I don't like that part when she kind of like murdered the...
Oh, Tony. Yeah, that really stunk.
She burgered somebody?
Murdered.
Oh, murdered.
That guy
Burger, Dad, really?
I don't know. You kids and your slang.
You whippersnappers. Darn you, children.
You know what? It's so funny. I was watching this and I was thinking about... Oh my God, what was the movie that I told you? Oh, Attack the Block.
Attack the Block, yeah.
I was like, that would be like a good companion piece to watch to this. That would be interesting. It felt very much like that. But, and I also thought of you, Jay, because it was like, blame it on the 80s. I was watching this movie and it felt very, very, very 80s. Especially like the beginning with the title card.
The title card felt very 80s.
Like
and even the neighborhood itself felt
And you know what? I gotta be honest, when the film began, I was like, is this like an American version of Attack the Block? But instead of aliens, it's vampires? It felt very similar, even with like the whole, the one kid who is kind of involved with the gang leader.
Oh, Bobby.
Yeah. And that was a similar, I think that was, I mean, I only saw Attack the Block once and it was a while back, but I think that was one of the elements that was in that movie. There was like a bad gang leader.
Right, yeah.
Who was, I think, had some sort of connection to one of the kids.
I think you're right. Yeah, I've only seen it once too.
Yeah.
I think it was with you, I guess. Like we
just watched it on TV once.
Yeah.
I think we like missed like the first 20 minutes of it or something like that.
Yeah, it's still really good. I've been meaning to watch that from beginning to end, but it felt a lot like that. Although there was like a jab at gentrification in this movie, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But Jay, what did you think about the movie?
Well, first of all, Attack the Block was great. Well done. Good acting. I would say this movie is the exact opposite. Acting was terrible. But really what hurt me the most was just, I mean, how is it that she even says it? The vampire says, I've fought for 700 years against you fools. And somehow like a small group of children brutally slaughtered her and all her vampires that are, literally centuries old. So I was horrified, and like at this point, Enola Holmes is better than this movie, so I got to raise my rating on Enola Holmes from before. In my opinion, sorry to be that.
Well, I think Uncle Jay is more critical.
Yeah,
I think we see it a little. We're more forgiving.
We're rating it on a scale of a kids movie.
Attack the Block, I would say, is like a 9.
Attack the Block, absolutely.
No, I wouldn't give Attack the Block.
That was well written, well acted.
Oh, I thought it was really good too.
I would say I would give Attack the Block an 8, but a 9 is like, it's too close to 10.
You with your damn.
I am very strict about the numbers. 5 is flat average. 10 is an unattainable perfection, and a 9 is saying that film was like really like Inside Out was in the 9 range. Mad Max Fury Road is in the 9 range. Attack the Block,
I put that in the 8 range, but I hear you.
Attack the Block should be in the 8 range. And
I can't remember. I've only seen it once. You could be right.
Too. I think it's a solid film too.
No, I'm not. Since when is an 8 a bad rating?
No. I'm not saying it is, but I would probably give it more than an 8.
But anyway, back to this film.
Back to this film.
Yeah, the film we're supposed to be talking about.
Going
on a tangent.
Yeah.
This was a rated PG-13 kids movie. That, as far as kids acting goes, I thought it was fine. The only one I thought was a little off or a little unconvincing was like the real nerdy kid,
Lewis.
Yeah, his lines came out a little bit stilted and whatnot. The main actor and
he kept on drinking orange juice.
Yes, the kid who drank orange juice a lot because his blood sugar was low. That kid
was terrible.
That kid's acting was a little off. Everybody else's acting was completely serviceable for this type of movie.
Piece,
I mean, let's be honest. You're not going to see Vampires vs. the Bronx expecting Oscar-winning performances and Pulitzer Prize-winning writing and whatnot.
Again,
you got
the block. Kids. Any of these movies have children. They're awesome actors. I see. That's not a good excuse.
Not every actor in Attack the Block was the best.
I can't remember honestly, but I remember thinking it was good.
Yeah, it was. I think the story overall was more entertaining.
But I think this is also a different type of movie.
But it was a different type of movie. Attack the Block was able to take a lot more leeway. And risk. I mean, it was a rated R movie. People were being torn to pieces in that movie.
Yes, which is I think another layer of making me liked it more.
This is a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think this is like a different. I mean, I got shades of Attack the Block, but it wasn't like completely the same. And I think
Tangent.
No, we're making a comparison.
I'm going to bring it together. Trust me.
Yeah.
So, but I think that this particular movie.
But aren't we supposed to be rating this movie?
We will.
We're discussing this movie. We're comparing it to a movie that's similar. The thing is, you've never seen that similar movie. You probably could. It's not. I mean, people are being torn to pieces, but it's not.
Are they? I can't remember.
Yeah,
that's all the aliens did. They were like alien dogs. Remember?
Yeah. But so I was going to say that this particular movie. It's great for Halloween or leading up to Halloween without being overly scary. So if you have kids, I would even say 10 and above. I mean, I'm sure this is like rated PG-13, but I would even give it 10 and above.
Yeah, this is sort of like a Goosebumps type movie.
Yes, that's it. That's it exactly. I mean, there's stuff it's suspenseful, but it's not really a horror movie. There's definitely elements of comedy in it, and there's definitely a bit of social commentary woven throughout how neighborhoods change, how people immediately are presented with money and are willing to leave their homes, their neighborhoods, and the people that they've grown up with. You have people that are on the other side, like Miguel and his family, and Bobby and his family, I suppose, and Luis and his family, who are basically tied to this area. And there's nothing wrong with that, again. But
well, we actually discussed that a bit. Like, okay, you said there's like the theme of gentrification in this thing. They use that as a sort of like, I guess, sort of sinister backdrop to vampires are invading the neighborhood. But when it came down to it, usually on films where they're talking about gentrification, you're talking about the people in the neighborhood fighting tooth and nail to prevent gentrification from occurring. And in this one,
true, but that
everybody was like,
here.
give me my money. I want to get the hell out of here. From Zoe Saldana, who I'm like, why was she in this movie?
She was in
Was she a producer? Was she a producer in this film?
Good question.
Yeah. She probably knew somebody.
Did they kill her? Did they just not want to pay her? Like, why would they slaughter her after she paid and agreed?
Maybe she's related to somebody in the production.
Maybe they
company.
really didn't have any money. Like they were dirt broke.
or she might be related to somebody. I mean, Rob Zombie puts his wife in all of his movies.
But she's Zoe Saldana. She's in like Guardians of the Galaxy and
it doesn't matter. I mean, look at
Avatar. She's got like 2 franchises that made millions and millions of dollars.
But if your cousin is like, help me out, like do this movie for me, you're gonna say no? Of course not. It doesn't matter if you're
I would think she's probably a producer in this movie or something.
Possibly, but I mean, she seems like still like cool enough and low key enough that if somebody came to her and was like, do me this solid, she'd be like, yeah, sure.
Now we've completely flown into a tangent. Basically what I was saying was the gentrification theme was not really hammered in this movie.
It was implied.
It was a note in this movie, and it wasn't, oh God, gentrification is evil. That was a little
It was a
tiny,
threat, yeah.
it was a little tiny flavor in basically what was a Goosebumps type movie of little kids getting into some sort of adventure where they have to kill vampires.
Right.
Yeah.
But in Goosebumps, it was a book and this little dummy and a bunch of monsters.
Goosebumps is a series of books with various little stories, but the basic premise of Goosebumps is
Kids have to save the
they're
day.
scary. They're scary stories for kids.
Yeah.
And that's what this film was.
Gee, what did you think about the movie?
It was better than I thought it was gonna be.
I agree. I kind of went in this not with high hopes.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither did I. I mean, it looked.
Movie.
Yeah, to me, it looked just like a silly B movie.
From the 80s.
From the 80s, yeah.
You were right.
Yeah, it is like a B movie. And it had that 80s flavor.
And it's only 85 minutes, which is very much like movies from the 80s. Like now we have to sit through 2-hour movies or longer, but I think in the 80s everybody's attention span was like 85 or 80 minutes to like of an hour and a half, I guess.
Yeah, agreed. I like that about it. That was my favorite part of the movie.
That it
was
wasn't
quick.
long.
But it was over real fast.
All right, but Jay, if you weren't judging it on such a harsh scale, like on an adult scale, and you just saw it as a Goosebumps type kids movie.
I disagree that I was judging it on that scale. I mean, I like the Harry Potter movies. I love Inside Out. I love lots of little, like what you might consider kid movies.
But was it? I mean, okay, if you were gonna give like Harry Potter a what?
Well, which Harry Potter? I guess it depends which one.
The best one.
Prisoner of
Probably
Azkaban.
9 something.
You'd give it a 9 something.
Yeah.
What would you give the worst Harry Potter movie?
I don't know. Maybe some of the new ones. You know, the what's that one called?
Beasts.
With Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
the
Fantastic Beasts.
Those are
Beasts.
probably in the 6 range.
Okay, so is this as bad as those?
This is far inferior to that.
Yes.
I mean,
You would.
acting, first of all, they basically ripped off Do the Right Thing and did it badly with poor characters. And
This
then,
ripped off Do the Right Thing?
I mean, it kind of, yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what it basically is. They tried to get the feel of like that neighborhood where everybody's like, it's a community and everybody cares about each other and everybody's like part of this whole thing. And then there's some bad elements and whatnot.
Fair enough. I mean, it is an opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, did you have a favorite character?
No.
What about you, Olive J?
No.
No? What about you? I get your
Tony,
thoughts?
the guy who ran the bodega. He
Yes.
was the nicest character in the whole movie.
And he got it.
Yeah, that guy-
I was so pissed off about that. I was hoping he'd be there at the end.
I guess
But I guess you had to have
they
that
were
sacrifice
relying
too.
on that trope that you got to kill somebody to really unify everybody.
Yeah.
Although plenty of people died.
But that was the thing, right? It was almost
Well, that
anonymous,
gang guy
right?
died.
Nobody cares
Nobody
about
cared
the
about
gang
the gang
guys.
guys. But it was also anonymous. You know, it's funny when they had in the beginning when they were saying about the missing people and those posters. I was thinking about The Lost Boys because that's also like a vampire movie and how they had all the posters of the missing people and there's like a scene where this woman's putting up a poster and she looks at the Corey Haim character as he's walking through like that boardwalk of I guess stores. So that sort of it's funny when you watch stuff and it sort of reminds you of other things. Like and the other thing I thought of, I mean obviously not anywhere even close, but for some reason I was thinking about Stranger Things in comparison to the acting of the younger kids, or I should say young people, they're not really children. But I agree with you. I think of the younger group of kids, I thought Bobby was very strong. That was the kid that was... Bobby was the one that was kind of going with the gang, with Henny and his guys. I thought Miguel, even though Miguel was the central focus character, he was good, but not as compelling as Bobby. I thought Bobby was a little bit more compelling. I found Lewis interesting. I kind of agree with you, probably of the three, maybe the weaker one, but still kind of interesting. And it was interesting that he brought this kind of wealth of information from like a more supernatural aspect, which is interesting.
Yeah, he was the exposition dump character.
Right. And it's interesting because if you look at it culturally, most of these characters are either black or Hispanic, and in Black and Hispanic cultures, religion's a big deal. Superstition can be a big thing. My parents, coming from a third world country, a Hispanic third world country, we talked about church, which is heavily featured here. Religion is a big part of the culture. Community, family. I don't think it's stereotypical to say that a lot of people in the culture grow up in single parent families, and that's portrayed here. And you kind of get a sense of all that here. So I think in that sense, and that's how I was thinking about Stranger Things, like it definitely built this world that you kind of get immersed in, and you're watching it and it's like, this reminds me of. I remember the first time, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm making a point here. The first time we watched Stranger Things, like the first season, we blew through that. I mean, I think we saw that in like a day and a half.
Yeah.
And the thing about that show that really spoke to me is like how the guys that made it created this world that felt so familiar. Like when you see the boys in the garage playing D&D, it's like, oh, we used to do that as kids. Or when they're riding their bikes and stuff. Or even the homages that, you know, the scene that looks very much like E.T. and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like all of that stuff. This is all stuff that you recognize. So when you see it in a piece of, I guess, art, whether it's movies or books, it really kind of tethers you into this world. So, I mean, again, speaking as someone with a Latin background, having grown up in a very, well, actually, I grew up in a more European neighborhood, but we were very good friends with people in the Spanish neighborhoods, and we always hung out there, and we always went to church there. So that felt very familiar to me. So it was strange, because even though it's just a movie, you kind of have this sense of comfort.
Yeah, you identified with it.
Yeah, you identify with it.
Well said, Joanne.
Yeah, I think that's important. Like, we always talk about how representation is so important. Again, we're going off on a tangent, but I swear I'm making a point. Chadwick Boseman died recently, and hearing people say how important it was to have him be this iconic superhero character, because young Black children had never seen that before. It had never been a thing. And then for Disney / Marvel to have the deep pockets to create this world, and like, Black Panther is definitely one of the movies that we discussed before. It means so much. And again, this is just like a silly little fun movie, but I think it's important to tell these stories. I agree. I think the writing could have been sharper. I think it could have been done a little bit better but for what it was, if you're looking for just some straight, silly, fun, not safe for the kids kind of entertainment, this is a good bet. I'm still gonna say 10 and up. I think some of it might have been a little too scary for younger kids.
There was very minor jump scares.
Very minor.
The vampire makeup may have scared some really young kids. All of you weren't scared by the way the vampires looked, right?
No, but there were some tense moments where you like put the pillow in front of your face. So I'm gonna say
that was her anticipation rather than what she actually saw.
True.
Like when the vampire was coming to the bodega.
Right. Oh my gosh. You know, and I had a feeling she was up to no good. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I thought Tony was great.
I thought that she was too polite.
No, there was something about her.
This is the kind of movie where you pretty much nothing is really shocking.
Yeah,
she was definitely going to turn out to be a vampire.
Yeah. But so we'll go around the table really quick. Jay, 1 to 10. I'm sure you're gonna be less than 5.
Me?
So go for it.
$10.
Don't lie. No, be honest.
All right. So graded. All right. So let me not grade it as like a 46-year-old adult person just with no children. As what you just said,
32, remember?
Joanne, you made an excellent. What you were explaining before was quite articulate. So I see the movie a little bit differently. I would say then, judged on that scale, probably like a 5.
Yes.
Like just an average, kind of fun popcorn sort of movie. For my personal opinion, I give it a 0.9.
A 0.9.
Well, I mean, if I had to see this or The Raid, obviously I'd want to see The Raid, but...
To me, like a 1 is just basically
just
like
horror.
2 hours of somebody's kneecap. and like somebody like reciting like spoken word in French or something while filming their kneecap. That's a 1. Point.
I don't know.
Just incoherent garbage.
It was, but I mean, look, you've got other movies, that are just so excellent. But yeah, it was a fun little bit of fluff, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
If I had kids, I could see how I'd like it.
Yeah.
You didn't see this movie, but Olive G.
What?
Vampires versus the Bronx or Stargirl? What's a better movie?
Vampires versus the Bronx.
Interesting. All right, scale of 1 to 10.
Stargirl was awful.
Stargirl was...
I'm going to agree with Olivia on this. I think this movie was so much better.
You don't want to know. So it's funny. Somebody gave us a thumbs down for our
it was our one and only dislike in a review.
I was like,
I'm guessing it may have been Stargirl herself.
Stargirl.
Stargirl was awful. Don't dislike us.
It was some Disney film where
it wasn't as bad as Don't Look
they
Now.
basically went full manic pixie dream girl trope, and she had she literally had a ukulele, and was like, I'm quirky.
That episode of Gumball.
Yes, like Sarah. Sarah pulls out
like,
quirky.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Well, 1 to 10, Olive. What would you give this movie?
I give it a 7.
7. Very nice.
What
What
about
about
you,
you,
G?
G?
Giving us the silent treatment.
6.
6. I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
I'm going to give it a 6. It was somewhat better. It was better than average.
Yeah, it was better than I thought it would be.
Better than average. It was, like I said, it's not going to blow you away.
Yeah, it's just.
I think where
it
it could have gotten a 7 if the writing was better, and to me I was expecting more comedy, like more humor.
Yeah.
And there were humorous bits in there, but
not enough.
it was like, nah, make up your mind. Is this a comedy, or is this just straight goosebumps? You know?
Right.
Well, and that's how Attack the Block worked. It was funny.
Attack the Block had comedy. Yeah.
Comedy, yeah.
That's what pushed it up. But
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I agree with Jay. I think the acting in that was way better, and I think the script in that was way better. And I think they're fighting these aliens. So, I mean, it's not something that comes up very much. I feel like I have vampire fatigue at this point, so maybe that's another reason why this doesn't play as well.
This is like one of the only exceptions I'll have for vampires.
Okay.
I hate all movies because there's always like some disgusting romance between a vampire and some teenage girl.
We're not gonna review Twilight together, Jimmy. Come on.
Yes. Oh my God.
You know you
Don't
want
make me
to.
watch that.
I saw so many commercials about vampires and girls. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh, you love it.
It was so
170-year-old
crazy.
vampires.
Yeah, that was my thing.
'cause,
I could never see why a 1,000-year-old man would hook up with a teenage girl, because nothing's crazier than a high school girl. Nothing.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Speaking of someone
Who's
who
more
was
interesting
a
to
high
talk
school
to
girl.
than a
Than a
high school girl?
crazy hormonal
Emotional.
emo high school girl. Oh my God.
Emo?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap this one up before we go on a tirade about vampire
Emo
romance.
chicks date bad boys.
Wait,
Super
what?
cool bad boy.
All right, so that's it from us. We will be back again real soon. Thank you to Uncle Jay for hanging out with us and watching this, and we will come back with another review shortly. Good night.
All right,
Good
good night.
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 Good night.